know the light will pass and the dark will fall.
Okay?
Is that all right? Yep, that's better.
Yeah, there's no breaking up now.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing. Am I early? I think I maybe got mixed up in the times.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, anyway. Okay, so you're Sterling Allen, and you're founder and CEO of Pure Energy Systems Network and the New Energy Congress.
Right.
And Pure Energy Systems is the premier news directory and networking service for all free energy enthusiasts. Its mission is to find and facilitate the best exotic free energy technologies.
Correct.
Is that a good summary?
It is.
And you also founded the New Energy Systems Trust, and that's to help bring these technologies to market.
Right.
Okay. So, and I find that your website is terrific. I mean, it's peswiki.com, right? peswiki.com.
Yeah, that's the directory and news.
Yeah.
There's also pesn.com, which is where we put the stories that we compose, our exclusive stories.
Okay. Right. Anyway, I'll come back to the website here, but it's a terrific resource for anyone interested in free energy. So my first question then really is, when I'm writing about free energy, I always find it difficult to come up with like a all-encompassing definition. Could you try and give like the quintessential definition of free energy?
Sure. Free energy refers to the energy that is provided to us by nature free of charge. Solar is free, wind is free, geothermal is free. These are conventional free energy sources, but there are also some exotic or not yet recognized by the mainstream technologies that are also available free from nature. And I include all of those under the definition of free energy, meaning free for the taking, energy being a source that you can use for electricity, for propulsion, for heat, whatever sources of energy or what a kind of energy. It's just a matter of converting it from one form to another. And just as a thermoelectric generator converts heat into electricity, these free energy devices, which aren't free, convert the environmental sources into something that we can use, whether it's heat or electricity or propulsion, torque. And so that's my definition of free energy. And I think I've influenced the industry, both conventional and non-conventional, to move toward adopting that definition for the phrase free energy. I see, for example, solar industries using the term free energy to relate to solar energy. Same thing with wind industry. And so I think I've had an influence in that regard, so that the less exotic things that we can relate to, because we see them installed all over the solar and wind, calling those free energy, helps make the gap for accepting the more exotic technologies that are not maybe as well appreciated or accepted to become more acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you would also maybe label solar energy. It's very kind of capital intensive. So a lot of these exotic free energy technologies are less capital intensive and really are better in that way. Because
I would say the quest is to find a device, a mechanism to convert environmental free energy into
Yep.
usable energy in the cheapest, safest, most reliable manner possible. And so if you have a technology that harvests clean energy that is ubiquitous, always available, and it's cheaper not only than solar and wind, but cheaper than grid, then you're really going somewhere. And that is our quest. And so the things that we feature are things along those lines that are not only going to make energy more affordable than solar and wind, but more affordable than coal and natural gas and other grid-based energy solutions.
Yeah. Because I think in another interview you said, solar, wind, these turbines, it's very, very, there's a lot of material go into the building of the solar panels and it would be probably quite difficult to make that mainstream everywhere, whereas a lot of the other technologies are a lot less material intensive, which is a good point,
Yeah. There's exactly. So in looking at how good a technology is, you have to weigh the life cycle, both the manufacturing, the usage, maintenance, and the decommissioning when you're at the end of the life, getting rid of it. Is it going to pollute the environment to make it, to maintain it, or to disassemble it?
Yeah. Because actually, in an interview we did with Heinrich Palmgren, I think that's his name, he actually mentioned, just at one point, he mentioned something like a light bulb or something that had lasted 100 years. I mean, I know that's maybe a little bit off the free energy, but even that to me would be like quite useful,
Yeah.
because these long light bulbs, I've read stuff that they've got mercury in it, so like even a light bulb that could last like 100 years. And he seemed to be saying that these existed or something, or one of the original prototype light bulb was still existed or something.
Yeah, there are the whole idea of planned obsolescence to increase sales by decreasing lifetime is totally unsustainable and ridiculous.
Yeah. I'll give you a definition here of, I think it's Stephen Greer gave this definition. Devices which achieve over unity by acquiring energy from the quantum vacuum flux field. That's what his one of his definitions is. Now, I'm not a physicist, but I think I can kind of understand that. A lot of these devices are able to draw energy from the air around the device. They're able to sort of harness the energy and the ambient. Some people call it the ambient energy. Mm-hmm. Is that right? A lot of the devices can seem to be able to do that.
You have to have an open mind, because why limit yourself by defining it and saying, if there's going to be an alternative energy source, this is what it's going to be and nothing more or less. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous, because we have to be open to all of the available energy sources that there are: zero-point energy, quantum flux, geothermal, heat gradations. On our website, we have a whole bunch of different genres of free energy. There's gravity, there's human motion, put an energy device on a merry-go-round in a playground and harness that energy. Some of them are more practical than others. Some of them are going to be cheaper than others. And like I said, you want to go for something that's going to be cheap, affordable, ubiquitous. It can be portable. The more of those attributes it has, the better it's going to be. And so, quantum flux is one of 30 genres.
Right.
Solar's one, wind is one, zero-point energy is one. And it may be that some of these that we consider separate may actually be the same source. For example, LENR and the GEAT technology could both be using cavitation and plasma. Same with the noble gas engines could be using some of the same effects. There may be some overlap when we understand the science better. And the science is going to follow once we, to me, I am a scientist, and I do appreciate knowing how things work, but the most important thing is, does it work?
Yeah.
We can worry about how it works later, as long as we have a way to practically embody it into something that does work for now. I would imagine that the understanding of how it works probably needs to come along with getting it to work in the first place, but not necessarily. There may be instances where you don't know exactly why it works, you just know that it does work, and you know how to replicate it, and that's the most important thing from a practical point of view.
Yeah. And just on Stephen Greer, he has this concept of strategic protection. That all of these inventors and engineers should kind of come together in some way, and through that, then they can kind of protect themselves. He formed the Advanced Energy Research Organization, and that was formed to develop and strategically protect new energy and propulsion technology. So, do you think that's the kind of way forward? Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of different approaches. I think that approach has merit, but it's not going to be the only one that works. By having a lot of different people working on this worldwide, you get you get safety in numbers. They can't possibly squash everyone. And I believe that last year we achieved what I call escape velocity, meaning that the momentum toward adoption and getting free energy to the marketplace grew so significant that there's no stopping it at this point. It's going to make it. Not just one modality, but a whole bunch of them. Starting with one, but it'll be followed shortly by other modalities that are going to come forward for public use. I think, personally, that one of the biggest impediments to the emergence of free energy is the principle that we get, just like we get the government that we deserve. And when you look at our corruption in our government today, it is a reflection of the sad state of the people at large, their laziness, their overconsumption, their greed. Our government is a reflection of us as a people. And if we want better government, then we need to change as a people, because we get the government we deserve. And the same can be said about energy. We get the energy we deserve. And when we get more enlightened, and when we stop killing each other with our devices, then I think the unseen forces, the angels, God, whatever you want to call it, that steers us and guides things from the unseen side, will kick in to give a green light for us to get the free energy that we deserve, because we finally deserve it. Because if free energy came out in our present corrupt state on a wide-scale basis, it would go to our destruction, not to our blessing.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question, because I've actually visited Aeterna in Switzerland, at this community, that have this testotica machine, or have 5 or 6, I think, or 7, I think. But certainly their belief is that they won't divulge the secrets of the Testotica machine, as they believe mankind is not ready for the consequences brought on by, this free energy technology. So that's
I know the light will